So guys, as a lot of you know, we were looking at some DeFi pairs going into January. I think DeFi's could be a really big narrative going into January. Oh, sorry, I went out last night, so I'm feeling absolutely fucking grim. But always happy to hop on the charts for you guys, bring you guys utility, as we always do. Jesus Christ! All right, so we got a request for time, so I just thought I'd do a whole sort of DeFi video where we go over Olympus and time, the two biggest projects in the DeFi space, and the two projects that you should really be keeping your eyes on with regards to DeFi. Before we look at time and Olympus, you want to look at AVAX because AVAX is a really, really big indicator of what's going on in the DeFi markets. So a lot of obviously, I don't think Olympus is on AVAX, but I know time is on AVAX. A lot of DeFi projects exist on the AVAX platform. For whatever reason, I'm not 100% sure why, but I see loads and loads and loads of the DeFi projects coming out on AVAX. So if AVAX is doing well, it can be said that DeFi will continue to do well. What we see at the moment at AVAX, we see a beautiful run up from a base here, which is really nice. We test this high and reject away, make consolidation here and reject lower. So where we are now in our trading range is between this high and this low and this high, with the equilibrium being here. So to understand trading range, and a larger trading range, we're actually trading from here to here with an equilibrium being here. Understanding a trading range is just understanding the lows and the high and whatever market phase you're in. So literally just this move down upwards. I mean, if I go onto like a weekly candle, it'll probably just be one candle or like two candles, yeah. So it's just understanding the move from low to high and marking out the middle of the range. We have some other numbers like the .705 we like to use, but that's a little bit more technical. For now, we'll just use the equilibrium as it's usually the place of highest volume and where we can get our best entries and best idea of what the market's doing. If we map out volume of the whole chart, we can see we have really large volume here, very large volume down here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we were to see some sort of news event to quickly come back down here and nip this volume. We also have a really nice order block here, which lines up with the volume. I'm not saying this will happen, especially if crypto decides to take off in January. It's very likely that it won't happen actually. But if we do get a retracement down to this order block here, just because it lines up with the highest volume line, and also the fact that it would be in a deep discount. So this is the equilibrium. Anything below the equilibrium is a discount. It's a discounted buy. Anything above the equilibrium is a premium. It's a premium sell. So that's understanding a trading range and how we're trading it. It's how I trade. It's how you understand trading, to be honest, when we do Forex as well. So the best sort of buys for a leverage trade, I'll be looking at down here. I wouldn't be surprised if it does come down here and we see an amazing reaction. But just for now, what we're looking out for at the moment is this equilibrium is held by this low, which is really good confluence. So that means this equilibrium holds a lot of power. As you can see, we saw a reaction away from the equilibrium and a movement upwards to test the highs. In order for this bullish movement to be valid, after testing the highs, we want to see another test. We don't want to see this taken because this, you can think of this, it tested the equilibrium of the range, and then it went on to test the highs. So you can think of this as the origin point of the bulls saying we want to go upwards. This is the origin point of the bulls making a decision saying we want to test these highs and we want to go upwards. Here we saw sellers come into effect. That's what I've highlighted here, the consolidation. The sellers come back down. What we really want to see, as I've just said, is this low hold. We want to see this equilibrium hold. We do not want to see a weekly close below here. As I said, we could see a weekly close below here is genuinely really bad. I really don't want to see that. But we could see a quick little liquidity grab, take these and come down here to mitigate this. That's another scenario that could still, that's the last scenario that I would think would be bullish. Anything aside from that and anything, the only way that we could go with the line below this line and be bullish is if we mitigate this order block here, just because it lines up with the highest volume and it's a really deep discount. But what I'd like to see is a 0.705 retracement, which we have seen a reaction away from. So I'd quite like to see price come up and take out these highs and take out this consolidation. Once we start taking out this consolidation, as you can see, highs were respected in the consolidation. We saw a high, lower high, and then just liquidity. So whenever you have equal highs, it's liquidity. These two are not actually equal highs because this one's slightly higher, but these are equal highs because this one's higher than this one. If we were to come up and take this, it wouldn't be liquidity because we would have taken the liquidity, if that makes sense. So resting above this high, there's a large amount of liquidity, and resting above this high, there's a large amount of liquidity. So if buyers can come up and show their hands and we can close above this on a major close, maybe a daily or a weekly close, then it's going to look very bullish for AVAX. Until then, we're just going to move sideways in this range. This is the range we're in at the moment. As I said, moving below here on a weekly daily close is going to be very bearish. Moving above here on a weekly or daily close is going to be very bullish for AVAX. Moving on over into OM DAI, Olympus, the easiest pair to trade that has ever existed in any market ever. You draw out a box at the bottom and you say buy in here and respect the low, and that's it. As you can see, Olympus continually respecting lows, low respected, low respected, low respected, low respected, low respected, and low respected. So anytime we're in this green box, we can see that we are not actually taking out lows. We're just forming higher, higher lows. Sorry, we're not actually taking out the liquidity. It's all being respected. So continuing this thesis, we expect that if this is the bullish action that is going to push price back upwards into Olympus doing whatever it does, if this is the bullish action, then this will not be taken. We expect this not to be taken. So from a trade setup, we would expect this to be our stop loss. And we have a bit of a bull flag forming here, which is nice, a bit of a channel. So just see how price plays out of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to break out soon. But yeah, we want to see this get respected. We can also draw out a 705 retracement and maybe look for an entry down in this sort of region. As always, as we always do, we draw out the low to the high. This is the high of the range. This is the low of the range. We draw out the equilibrium so we can understand where we are with price. I'd quite like to see buyers hold the equilibrium. It would be nice. And I really don't want to see us come down here. If we come down here and we start taking this out, it's an invalidation point for the trade. We want to look to get out the trade. So I might be looking to enter a position soon on Olympus because it's a very, for my large funded trades, when I put a lot of money into a trade, I look for those safer pairs, and Olympus being cemented as a great in the space, it makes it a much safer pair. Huge amount of liquidity, huge amount of money locked up in it, and the project has a very bright future. So that's why I'm happy to invest in it. But as always, my investments always come with invalidation points. You should always have an invalidation point in your investment. You should always know when you're getting out of your investment if things do not go your way, because things will not always go your way, especially in the crypto markets. So if I do take a trade, I'll be looking for this as an invalidation point. I won't actually take a trade until I see a bullish signal. A bullish signal could be a reaction off the .705. It could be a daily close taking out these highs here. Any sort of daily close taking out these highs would be a signal to me to get into the trade. Taking a look over at time, I know a lot of you were asking about time. As you see, saw a massive pump through the DeFi wave through November, and then we saw a massive dump off. Sure, there's some fundamental driver driving whatever's going on in time. I don't keep up with it completely. I'm a full-on chartist. I just tell you what's happening in the charts, and the charts tell me the future, basically. We're making lower lows on time, but I believe that time do have some new stuff coming out, and with the DeFi wave, we can definitely start to go upwards. One thing to look out for when we start to look out for when the market is reversing is the extension. So the market cycle happens in consolidations and extensions. Those are the only two states that the market has. It's either building up orders and moving sideways, or it's extending. And there's much more volume in these building up orders than the extensions. People think they see these big green candles. They're like, oh, that's going to have a fucking load of volume. No. All this big green candle means is that there isn't selling volume pushing it back down. The volume here is actually less than the volume here. So we managed to make a huge green candle on lower volume. And that's just because a large movement happens when there's not a lot of pressure on the other side of the market. Like here, there's not a lot of buying pressure, so sellers were very, very easily able to take price down with not a huge amount of volume. As you can see, the biggest amount of volume came on... Doesn't always work, it might be wrong. Okay, I am a little bit wrong. Okay, there you go. Massive amount of volume on this candle here, which obviously didn't do very much. And as you can see, we saw a huge movement, beautiful candle on very low volume. So that just means buyers weren't stepping into the market. But as obviously we made a huge contraction here, about 50%. And as we start moving downwards, you can see the contractions are getting smaller and smaller. The market's kind of losing steam. You can just look at these getting smaller. This is an indication that the market's basing out, which is a really good bullish sign. I would love to give you some points to take buys from, but I can't because time's in price discovery mode at the moment. It's never been this low before. It's at all-time lows. So I can't give you any points to take reactions off. I can't draw up anything. This is all completely new. And that is quite scary for me sometimes because I really like having historical data. And obviously when I'm trading all my Forex pairs, I have fucking so much historical data. It's almost never you find that price is in all-time lows. But it's still, I'm still able to map out the market. I mean, I can see that we're basing out at the moment. I'd like to see these highs get taken out. It'd be a beautiful thing. When this high gets taken out, it's going to be very bullish. And when this high gets taken out, I assume that we will be on an absolute rampage. Until we see some real bullish movement, some higher lows being made and some higher highs being made, I just can't enter a trade. Let's say we were to come up here, test this, and then maybe come back down to a 0.705 retracement, maybe test back down this region, maybe test consolidation again, and then we saw a higher movement away, instant movement away, fast reaction to come and test these highs. Then I probably would be looking for a trade on the reaction back down here with the intention of the market going upwards to take out these highs and move onwards. I'd quite like to have a fundamental driver as well, so I'll be looking at the time Twitter to keep you guys updated on fundamental drivers. Just something in the news that is bullish for time, or for Avalanche, or for DeFi in general, just anything to help push price towards where it needs to go. Because as you can see, there's still a big amount of selling pressure. It's just that the buyers are finally stepping into the market and saying, okay, this is a place that I want to buy time at, which it is. I mean, if you're not a fucking very, very, very hardcore chartist like me, buying time anywhere below here is all-time lows, so it's a great buy. I mean, yeah, you're losing about 20%, could go down to like 50%. I don't believe it'll go any lower than that. It's a great buy at the moment, but I'm just going to wait till I can have an actual trade set up because I need to have my trade. I need to have an invalidation point for my trade. I need to know when I'm exiting my trade. I need to know when shit goes wrong, I can get out. Otherwise, you're sat holding your bags as it fucking dumps. So I'll update you guys as time gives a little bit more bullish movement. At the moment, I cannot say that it is bullish, but it is starting to look like it is basing out, which is nice. It would have been nice from the sideways consolidation to have seen a move to the upside rather than to the downside. We did see a move to the downside, but if this is a liquidity grab, then this could still be a bullish scenario. A liquidity grab is when we have a consolidation, sideways movement like this, and then the market comes down just to grab the liquidity on the buy side. If you don't know what grabbing liquidity means, all of the buys up here, they're all in buys up here, and their invalidation point is here. This is the liquidation point. What the market needs to do if it wants to activate, if it wants to buy a lot of if it wants to buy a lot, all of these buy orders, their stop losses are sell orders. When their trade is invalidated, they sell. So in order to have enough people selling in the market at these prices, the market will often come down and grab liquidity, which is activating these sell orders so it can buy into it. If that is a scenario we're seeing, and we will see bullish movement and we will see these highs taken out. And I won't take a trade until we see that, and I'll keep you guys updated on what happens. But that's just a bit of an update on the DeFi markets. I know a lot of you are wondering about how we're getting on with them. As we get into the new year, we'll see a lot more movement, but it's looking decent at the moment. Obviously, Olympus had this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pump. So we're looking at this trading range at the moment. Anytime you see some beautiful movement like that, it just screams out to me trading range. I want to understand how we're going to move within this trading range, and I want this low to be respected very badly. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated, and I hope you enjoy. We got some great stuff coming to you upon launch, some chartist videos, and we're really ramping up the alpha. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.